and hot.
Good morning, people of Earth. It's Friday. All right. Does that make you happy? Jackie, the joke man, is expected here, but not till late because he's having a emergency colonoscopy this morning or some other kind of medical procedure, and it's not an emergency. It's a scheduled one, but he's running a little late, so he's saying 9:30. Does it really matter? Do you care? Probably not. Anyway, I'm here. If you want to pop in, people who have a key to pop in, feel free. Um, okay, there's nothing much to talk about today. That's it. Goodbye. Um, Dave, flathead Dave, flathead screwdriver Dave, flat Earth Dave, wrote to me yesterday. I feel, you popping in? You want a link, Ralph, to pop up on the screen? You want to come on the show and say hello to Jackie live in person? You can do that. I'll send you a link. Want me to send you a link? I'll send you a link. Anyway, Flat Earth Dave wrote to me. Maybe I should pull up that email if I can find it. It's not a long one. You know what? I'm not gonna look for it over there. He said, "Why did you pull that? Why did you give me a copyright strike on YouTube?" Well, Dave, just because the interview included you does not make it. Oh, he's pooping, not popping. Uh, Dave thinks that just because he was interviewed on an early uh, episode of My No TV podcast, that he has the right to pull that down and post it on his website, which is not the case. And YouTube knows that because YouTube was the one who approached me and said, "This guy's stealing your content. Do you want to put a copyright strike on him?" So I said, "Yeah." So now Dave has a copyright strike on him, and he's calling me pathetic for doing that because he destroyed me in that interview. Destroyed me. Not happening. Did not happen. Basically, Dave made his grifting case for flat earthers and other like-minded retards to hit themselves in the head with a hammer and tell themselves they were smart. But if he wants to believe that he destroyed me in that conversation, which it was not, you know, it was not a contest. It was an exchange of ideas, bad ideas, but an exchange of ideas. But if he wants to believe that that's the reason it got pulled down, I let him. Dave is a con man and a grifter. He does not and never has believed in flat earth. He believes in making money off of stupid people that will fall for it and send him $3 for an app. No, $11 for an app, and then $3 a month for eternity, so that he can use Google satellite imagery to point out where other flat earthers are so that you can date or hang out with people as stupid as you. So that's the story with Flat Earth Dave. And you know what? I could stay in the mud forever with stupid people, or I could just let it be. But if he continues using the content, I'm going to continue putting copyright strikes on him. He gets two more, he's gone. He's off of YouTube. Done. Maybe that's a good outcome. We shouldn't have stupid people. You know, Dave's not a stupid person. He really isn't. He's a good con man. He's a smart con man. He's making lots of money off of these fucking people. Big time money. Figure $11 a pop for the app, and then $3 a month for eternity. He's doing okay. Doing okay. And I have expressed that there is some jealousy on grifters like this. Why didn't I think of that? Uh, give them some credit. Give them some credit for figuring out there's a bunch of stupid people that will pay money every month to be told these lies. Okay. So that's that. Let's move on. Ford Motor Company has applied for a patent for repossessing a gizmo that will repossess cars on its own. In other words, if you're late on a payment, your car payment, the car will drive itself to the repo lot. Now, this is interesting to me. You know what? If you're not making your payments, you deserve to lose your car. I don't, if you don't make enough of them, I guess two or what's the number? Whatever. You deserve. You got to make your payments. But it would be really curious. Does the does the car know if you're in it or not? Oh, wait, we're driving to the repo lot. I'm not, just take over the mechanism that's gonna take their car back. Does it know you're in it when it starts driving? Curious, curious, curious. Our friend Carl is still in Nashville, or is in Nashville with our friend Brett, or apparently a lifelike simulation of Brett. And I'm just wondering, big lots of streams going on. Uh, who wants to pay for a color that turns on you? I'm sure that means car. Are you using voice to text? Is that what happens there, or is this autocorrect fucking with you? What's pay for a car that turns on you? Who wants to pay for a car that turns on you? It's kind of a scary thought. Um, so I was, just back on the call thing for a second. Call. He's been streaming a lot lately. I think the game plan is get drunk, stream a bit, go get drunk some more. But they usually get drunk on the stream, and just it's gonna alternate between drinking and streaming and drinking all day today, and then be back tomorrow. I won't be attending Jackie's show tomorrow night, which he's gonna be pissed when he finds out. Not that he needs me there. But I've been telling him I'm going for the last 2 months. Wasn't gonna take a gig on March 4th. And I honestly, when the gig came up, because it's Garden Grill. We've been in Garden Grill for years and years, sometimes twice a month, but at least once a month for many years. And then all of a sudden, about 6 months ago, things started to change there, and we were replaced by full bands. It's been me and Mikey doing duo work there. Like, what the hell? Uh, and so this is an opportunity to get back in there. And so when Mikey called me and said, Garden Grill Saturday night, I said, yeah, without thinking, oh, yeah, that's the night Jackie show is. So I'm doing a gig to save my gig. A gig to save my gig. And I won't be making Jackie's show. And I feel like a dope. Sometimes you feel like a dope, sometimes you don't. Um, this Murtaugh case. You know about this Murtaugh case? Murder, 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 murder. Who? Oh, you're not allowed to talk to anybody. Oh, I know you meant car anymore. Anyway, where's Ralphie over there? Will, if you want to pop in, you can pop in. Jackie's not going to be here for a while. He's running late. He's had an emergency colonoscopy. Um, So if you want to pop in and then hang out and say hello to Jackie, that's fine. I mean, whatever. You don't have to. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But this murder guy, murder. Why can't I say his name? Murder lawyer guy in South Carolina killed his wife and kid. Convicted yesterday. Turns out there's more to the story than this whole this conviction thing. Um, where's it? Where I want to make sure I get some of this stuff right, and I probably won't even with the help of this fucking app. But it turns out there's more stuff. Like his law firm was in some deep shit, and there was some, I don't know, suicide paid suicide for hire is a phrase I've never heard before, because that's not suicide. If you pay somebody to kill you, that's not suicide. But in order for the insurance policy to pay off, I guess he was gonna pay somebody to off him, but didn't get to do it in time before he got caught, or something, or something. Um, I can't find it now. The story about this, but it turns out his family has a long history of this. His grandfather did it. His father did it. They're a bunch of murdering, suicide, contracting, insurance paying crazy lawyers. Uh, that's because he tried to pay me with a check. I get it. Um, but so, you know, they're just finding out about this stuff now. This stuff has been going on in his family. I can't find. It's like they fucking take the story down pretty quick. Apple News app. They give it to you. I guess they assume I read it already and don't want to show it to me anymore, and I'm not gonna go search and find it. Uh, Murder conviction, blah 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 blah. Fuck it, fuck it. So anyway, that's what I say. Fuck it. Uh, you know me. I'm a Venmo guy. I don't think you are. Are you a Venmo guy? I've never seen you getting money Venmo wise, or sending money Venmo wise. Anyway, so yeah, um, it's curious how, if people knew that this was like a family cottage industry, paying people to kill dad so you can get the insurance money, that it took 80 years to say anything about it, and wait until he finally got convicted of murder, and his wife and son, fucking kill your wife and kid because you're having financial troubles. And they're all lawyers. They should know it. That's illegal. You're not allowed to kill your family. It's written. They wrote it down. So that's that. That's all there is today. Okay, see you. Have a nice day. Um, Tasting New York airs tonight. I forget which one. Tula's. I think is it Tula's? Tula's Kitchen in Bayshore, which is a healthy eat. Is it that? I could be wrong. It's Long Beach. Oh, Tula's was last week or the week before. I don't know. I'm so lost. Tonight, I believe, is Five Oceans in Long Beach, Long Island. Um, Seafood. That's what it is. It's all seafood. And it's about, this is kind of interesting because the food, obviously, it's about the food. But Long Island's fishing industry and how it has been decimated by first overfishing the waters around here. And then, secondly, the storms and the environmental things, and too many boats leaving too much crap in the water. Speaking of crap in the water, you see this buffering? That's a crap in the water buffer.
Hello, sir.
How are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
What are you doing? Laying down? That's a Sam Talent move, being on my show like that.
Is it?
That's
Is
it.
it? That's great. I actually have not anymore, but I had a T-shirt that I was laying on a bench. I was like laid out. It was a full body shot, laid out on a bench like this, and it said, "Paint me like one of your French girls." And then on the back, it was a stick figure, and it said "Close enough." It was like a stick figure in the same shape. That was actually uh, I think my second bestseller.
Wow. What
And
you?
that was my wife's idea. My wife designed that shirt.
So you were doing merch, but you're not doing that anymore, or are you doing that
I,
more?
w- I was I don't have a website anymore because my sister's ex husband was the guy doing my website and all my t-shirt stuff or whatever.
And you
Like I would
did it
just
paid for suicide, right? Tell me that's what it is. You paid suicide. Is that what happened?
I could see that being a thing for like somebody that doesn't have the gumption. You know what I mean? I was actually thinking about that of like a suicide for hire. It's probably somebody who really wants to die, but they don't have the balls to do it themselves. So they're going to hire somebody else to do it in a way that looks like suicide, so
You
that
could,
that person doesn't get in trouble.
all right, but you could do it less expensive. It
Sure, I'm
saves you
sure.
money. You just get a fake gun and point it at a cop.
Oh yeah, you don't even need a gun. You don't even you need some fucking tinfoil, something shiny coming out of your pocket. Boom, it's over.
Well, not me. I'm white. I'm cool with that. Uh, do you know a illustrator? Speaking of the stick figures, you reminded me of. I need an illustrator, somebody who could draw.
I mean,
I'm
I
gonna.
know a lot of people that draw.
I have an idea. I'm gonna play it. This isn't a published piece yet, but I'm gonna probably put it. It's a reel, but I thought this would be good to take this. Brendan Walsh doing Yelp reviews he wrote, and this is just a minute of it. It's a very it is they're longer than a minute. This is just a sampling, but I thought it would be better to take all the video out and just do an illustration. Here, a little sampling.
Start by saying I love birds. I grew up with a parrot named Smokey who knew how to smoke cigarettes. My dad got him from the exotic bird black market back in the 80s. I guess the previous owner taught him how to do that. Everyone loved Smokey, even though he could be a jerk sometimes, but all birds are jerks sometimes. Ask anyone. Smokey spoke some weird language that we couldn't figure out what it was. My mom would drink wine and smoke cigarettes in the kitchen while she danced around the Frank Sinatra records. Smokey would join in and squawk his head off, and my mom would give him cigarettes too. My dad fed Smokey a piece of turkey on Thanksgiving one year, and my mom was laughing so hard she couldn't breathe and knocked a bunch of stuff on the floor. One time, my mom and Smokey were so loud dancing around in the kitchen and blaring that greasy meatball music. That's what my dad called Frank Sinatra's music.
oh my god!
My
Oh
dad went
my
into the
god!
garage to sleep in the car.
So that is just a piece of a Yelp review. He would go on Yelp and find random, things and just leave a review on. So World of Birds, he just decided I'm going to write a review and make up this fucking fictional stuff and just go on and on with that kind of stuff. And I thought it would be really cool to illustrate that, just like an animated or just drawing stick figures of the story as he's telling it, because
Yeah.
it's pretty cool stuff that he, yeah, the greasy meatball.
I picked up this book a while back that was Letters from an Idiot, and it was put out by Jerry. I think it was called Letters from an Idiot. I might have the title wrong, but it was put out by Jerry Seinfeld, and it was a bunch of like letters that somebody had written, back in the days of snail mail to like all these different like hotels and and it was always, he wanted, it was some sort of like special accommodation that he was trying to get from the hotel, and it was just, I love that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is always so good, and I
Yeah,
do like the idea of, and instead of having like, people on videos or whatever reading it, to have like an animation.
yeah,
I like that idea. That's a
yeah.
good solid idea.
But I can't draw, and
Yeah, no.
it's a time consuming thing. So I'm thinking of going on Fiverr and see if I can get somebody with some talent who could probably pop those out. The one he has on there about speed dating is funny as hell because it's full of like really sexual and ridiculous stuff
That's
about.
something I never did. I think that's more of a big city kind of thing. I don't even know if I've ever seen a posting for a speed dating anywhere that I lived.
Speed dating. Now that's so weird. Like you get 3 minutes to sit down with a stranger and assess them, I guess, and
Yeah.
see if they're
It's
worth.
like the worst kind of open mic there is. Like,
Ralphie says I like those Penthouse forum letters. I brought that up last week, and I don't think Penthouse is even still around. Who? Oh, why did I bring that up? I don't remember why I brought that up last week. Somebody was talking. Oh, because it was that story about um the woman who contacted her therapist. How do I tell my daughter that her brother is her father? Um, she got married. The husband had a vasectomy many years ago and couldn't be reversed, but she wanted to have children, so they decided to let his son get her pregnant. So her her
which I'm
stepson.
really hoping they did like procedurally in a
That's what I
lab.
was thinking. Did he? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Like this story's so yeah, no, they probably just boned, yo.
Oh man. But the
Ugh.
thing that I came to me is like, why even tell her she's grown up now? Why ruin her? She got to adulthood. What does she need to know this for? Her brother is a brother, despite what you fucking
Well,
crazy kinky family did.
the biggest reason they want to tell her is to relieve themselves of their guilt.
Right.
Number
Or
one.
dad wants to bone her.
Yeah. Like, hey, can we do this again?
so, so the brother is really the father. The father is really the grandfather, and the stepmother is the real mother. Is her mother is a mother, but also her step grandmother in the same.
It's
But
becoming painfully obvious that I did not smoke this morning
yes,
because you're frying my brain, bro.
I know. Would you like a smoke? Um. So yeah, the edible stuff was on. I was on this site last night. You know the difference between Delta 8 and Delta 9 THC?
No, I don't know the difference between the two.
Well, the price is $10 more for Delta 8. That's
Hmm.
all I know. And so, why am I buying Delta 9 if there's a better one out there? Why does not my dispensary not have Delta 8? There's this dispensary. It's called Mood, and I found the ad on Facebook, and now I'm seeing it everywhere. So I think it's actually a legitimate company because I wouldn't be seeing the ads over and over again. I would think that you know, Facebook used to pull my ads down if they even suggested anything to do with anything like weed or whatever. So I think they changed their policy on this. But it's a dispensary that claims they will ship legal weed and hash and the THC products any place in America where it's legal. Now that's to me it seemed against the federal law because it's federally
Yeah, but
still
didn't they decriminalize it federally though? That was like the
decriminalized.
first thing
That's
that
not
happened.
legalized.
Okay, but if they decriminalize it, doesn't that mean they're not going to prosecute it? So I mean, why would you not do it if they're not
Because
going to prosecute it? What
that's
stops me from doing it?
uh they're not going to prosecute possession
I'm
or but selling across state lines that's a male thing. That's that's
yeah,
where
no,
it
that
becomes
could
a
be, I
problem.
suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I,
so
I to me, I'm kind of like you. To me, I would still be too nervous to get stuff through the
I got
mail.
ripped off on the years ago. I saw a TED talk on the dark web, and this guy was talking about how you could buy reefer and buy anything really. You could buy just about anything on the dark web. But I thought, wow, I could buy an ounce of weed. So I went on the dark web, and I found millions of places that were selling weed on the dark web. And the guy said you can trust them because their business relies on good reviews. The minute somebody leaves a bad review, they're out of business. So I did
I
it.
mean, that's sort of true.
Yeah, I didn't know. because they ripped me off immediately. First one I found, and I was really hesitant to send money, and then got ripped off. I'm a fool. I admit it.
Yeah.
I'm admitting it here in public for the first time.
Well,
For the second time.
I'll do you a solid here, Matt. I'll make myself a bigger fool
Oh, okay.
because I have to tell you, I hear these references all the time, and it really makes me feel kind of like a dumb kid.
Dumb kid.
What exactly is the dark web?
Dark.
I don't know where it is, what exactly it is, how to find it. It seems like an interesting place to visit. I'd kind of, but I don't know how to even get there.
Well,
Like,
you can only get there through a certain browser. It looks like Jackie's emergency colonoscopy went well, and he's been released on his own recognizance. Let me just change the background before I bring him in here. But you need a special browser to be able to access the dark web, and maybe there's something worthwhile there. But I've never. Good morning, Jackie.
morning.
Hello.
How is
Hello. Hey.
how was your emergency colonoscopy? Everything come out all right?
All I can say is thank God for this pillow with the hole in
Did the doctor give you his number?
it. He gave me a lot more than that, and
Uh,
I'm forever appreciative.
Look how handsome you look in that shirt. What's going on there? You trying to impress me? Or you trying to impress?
I'm trying to get a gig out west with Conway, so I'm figuring if I look sexy enough, I'm gonna get something going here.
I
Sunday
mean,
night.
yeah, we could definitely. Yeah, I do have a gig Sunday night.
Sunday night. Let's go out to Albuquerque.
No, next Sunday. Next
Oh.
Sunday,
Oh, I'm sorry.
the 12th.
What year?
This year.
So speaking of gigs, I was on your website this morning, Jackie. You got the whole summer booked up already. Everything you got.
You know, nobody looks close. Those gigs are like a month apart. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I got
We-
one. I'm working Saturday night at the Suffolk, and I'm actually selling a lot of tickets. Me and Peter Bales. We've been having so much fun, man, lately. I got to tell you about our podcast. But me and Bales have sold a lot of tickets at the Suffolk. But then my next gig's not for 3 weeks. You know,
right.
And
but
that's it's
a
in
great new
Passaic,
gig.
New Jersey.
Freehold, New Jersey. Freehold, New Jersey.
Oh, there's something.
But it's great. I got a room there, and I love when there's a gig at a hotel and you're staying at the same hotel. Do you ever? I call them elevated gigs. You know, you walk out of your room and you take the elevator to the gig, and then take the elevator back to your room. It's like heavenly, you know.
Well, I was talking about that with Carl the other night. Carl from London, now from Manchester, England. He's here in New York. I went with him to stand the other night. But we're talking about how when I traveled the world, most of the times I never left the hotel because the shows I was doing were hair shows, or cult shows. That's a whole other story. But and never got to see the city because you got to the airport, to the hotel, to your room, and then it's just the up and down the elevator to the ballroom.
That was me in Denver. That was me in Chicago. That was me in Miami. You know, you wind up going to see it other times and see it. But when you're traveling and doing comedy, you know, there's no time to, you're not sightseeing. You know, we went with the Stern Show. We spent a week and a half in London, and one afternoon, Fred and I got to walk from our hotel down to see the changing of the guard, and that was the only sightseeing we did in a week and a half. You know, and we were staying in a fancy place, but you know, we had such an agenda. You know, like in and out and in and out and up and down, and you know. But you know, wow! I was in London for a week and a half. What'd you see? I saw Fred.
Yeah, the best part of the best part of traveling is to see the freaky, strange people and get to meet some of the local people. That's what I always enjoyed about it. And if you don't get to do that, then you're missing out on a whole lot of. We went to Jack Dempsey's pub in New York City, first time I've ever been, and I thought that was a pretty cool thing.
That's great.
That sounds cool.
Podcasts. I did a couple podcasts from the up. I think the third floor. There's like 3 or 4 different floors there. That's a great pub, man. It's a great pub.
Yeah. So unfortunately, listen, 2 months ago you told me about tomorrow night, and I said I'm not taking a gig. I'm definitely coming March 4th, and I had planned on it, been telling people about it all for the last 2 months, and then 2 nights ago, my partner called me and said, "Garden Grill Saturday night. Are you on?" I said, "Yeah." He booked it, and then I said, "Wait a minute, Saturday night."
You will do anything to get out of hearing my jokes. You will
I-
do literally anything to get
It's
out
not.
of hearing
It's
my
not
jokes.
about the. It's not about the jokes. I know the jokes. I know all
Get
the
him,
jokes.
Jackie. Get him.
Do you
I,
know
Oh,
do you
God.
know the California condor?
no, I know the
The bird?
California, the
So the
bird. Yeah.
guy is before the judge, and the judge says, "You're here because you were arrested for shooting 3 rare California condors. They're an endangered species, and you killed 3 of them. Why would you do that?" He says, "Well, Your Honor, I got to tell you the truth. I shot the condors because I have no money, and I really needed to feed my wife and my kids. You know, I needed to do it to feed my family." And the judge says, "You know, that's kind of extenuating circumstances. I guess I'll let you go." Hey, just out of curiosity, what does a California condor taste like? He's, "Well, it's kind of a cross between a bald eagle and a giant panda." I love that joke. That is so stupid.
It's a rare diet. It's a real rare diet.
Rare diet.
Yeah, it's a protected diet. Um,
Yeah.
Wait a
now,
minute, Matt. Between me and you, who is coaching Conway? Who suggested that camera angle to him?
well,
Oh.
we were talking about
Well,
that. He came on with a Sam Talent look. Sam Talent has been on the show many times and does the Playgirl lay down thing, and he came on with that this morning. I don't know why.
He looks like he fell out. He looked like he fell out of bed.
I think he
well,
did.
I'm in bed, mainly because my wife fell asleep on the couch. And she
Oh,
gets really cranky when I wake her up. So I just figured, I'm gonna let her stay there, and I'll just come in here to the bedroom.
So
you know,
you're a battered husband. You're afraid your wife is going to beat you up if you wake her up. Is that what I just heard?
I mean, there's quite a lot of joking about me and my battered husband syndrome.
Yeah.
we
She
understand that.
she gets really testy about it every once in a while. Like every couple months, we have a conversation of, "Will you stop telling people that I beat you all the time?"
Hey,
And
hey.
And if you don't stop telling people I beat you all the time, I'm gonna kick your fucking ass.
yeah,
I
that's usually what happens. Yeah.
After I graduated from college and my girlfriend moved out, I wound up living in a house with a junkie and an alcoholic, a bad alcoholic. And this guy was such a nasty drunk. He was a little pain in the ass guy, but he'd get really drunk and he'd fall asleep. And he was one of those guys, if you tried to wake him up, he would wake up fighting. Like in his sleep,
Hmm.
he'd be fighting and he'd turn into like a Tasmanian devil, but he'd still be half asleep. And I came
Yeah.
home one night, and this guy was just such a little pig. I came home one night with a girl and went upstairs to my bedroom, and this guy was in my bed. And I knew if I tried to wake him up and get him out of there, it would be a world war. And it'd be. I said, "You know what? I'm just going to bite the bullet." And me and the girl got it on next to him. And he's passed out, dead drunk. And me and the girl get it on. I wake up in the morning. He's still there. I wake up in the morning. I'm like, pew. Like it's sticky. The guy had pissed the bed. I'm lying there naked
Oh.
with a girl getting it on, and we fall asleep. And I wake up in the bed. Oh my god! Like, listen,
Oh.
this
See,
like about 100 other times in my life, I said this is got to be a low point.
I would have paid. I would have paid for suicide. I
Oh
would have
my
paid
god!
somebody to suicide me after that.
It was
Um,
Dude.
it was unreal.
yeah.
My good friend Billy,
I
My my wife has become a hoarder.
a whore.
A hoarder.
a
I know.
hoarder.
No.
Oh
That
no.
was. She don't have to become that. That's when I met her. But now
Oh
she's.
my God, Jesus.
I know.
But But
I'm
to
moving
what
out.
extent? She saves last week's
So
magazines or last year's
no,
magazines?
to the extent that I'm gonna have to buy a water tower because uh, uh, Amazon is only selling 2 bottles of water of each kind or two items of water, and every day we're getting every kind of water they sell, 2 of each, and big, those big bottles, small bottles, bottles and cases, whatever. And what every single day I said, "Oh, are you expecting a drought or something?" And she has been stocking up on survivalist stuff,
Oh
and she's
God.
reading shit on the internet like food
What
kits for the war.
what does she expect is going to happen?
Rapture, the
Well,
end times. The
I mean, isn't she Christian? If she believes in the rapture, she really shouldn't worry about it because you're going to be up in the clouds with Jesus. What are you going to
well,
care
So
what's going
you
on?
she
don't
doesn't
mean
think it's
political. You don't mean political. You're talking about religious rapture.
right. Yeah, she
Yeah.
well, it's that, but like that's not going to happen right away. There's going to be like tough times and shortages of everything in between. You remember when you
Well,
couldn't get
Christians
toilet
argue
paper?
about that. Christians
Well,
argue about pre
I
and
went through
post
rapture.
tribulation rapture.
I went through rapture 4 years ago, the end of my sex life. But that was a whole different celebration, you know.
Right. But so now I've got more water. I'm seriously gonna have to buy a water tower. I'm gonna have to invest in a water tower for all the water we're getting shipped to my house, besides the rations kits and the
So
whatever
do
survival
you have an underground tunnel or a base like a cement walled basement or
working. We do have a cement basement, but yes, we got a building a bomb shelter or what, some kind of survivalist shelter. Like I don't want to be in there. Don't count me out. I'm
you survive in there for a month or a year, and then when you walk out, that's
with me. You wouldn't survive a day. I wouldn't survive. One of us wouldn't survive a day. Somebody would end
Somebody's
up
getting
dead.
killed in this bunker.
Yeah.
you know, I grew up in the 50s, so I was there for the whole Cold War. And, you know, there was, when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, there really was that whole crazy thing where people were building bomb shelters, you know,
Right.
which like made absolutely no sense. Fallout shelters. And that was one of my jokes. When I first started in comedy, I said my father was so cheap. He didn't want to build a fallout shelter. He wanted to wait and buy a used one, which is a great joke. But the concept is so stupid, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But did they have them up in your neighborhood up there in the North Shore? Because it seems to me that would be a hard place to dig.
I don't know anybody that had one or even thought about having one. Do you remember? And I didn't know this at the time. In Washington, D.C., like, I don't know whether it was a mile away or 5 miles away from the Capitol, there was a huge underground fortress that was connected by a tunnel from the Capitol or whatever, and there was enough food, water, shelter, power for all the congressmen, all the senators and their families, and food, and
Oh, and their families?
it was operational, totally operational for years and years and years, and it was underneath some big mansion in Virginia or something. And the only thing that you could see was a couple of pipes that came up, for the air, and which is obviously taxpayer money, and it costs billions of dollars. And then somebody must have said, enough of that,
And so I'm thinking my wife designed it, but the idea of the pipes being necessary for the air is just so ridiculous. If because you're gonna get if you're relying on the air to be piped down.
Of course. And then what's going to happen? They're going to until the food runs out, and then they're going to eat each other like rugby players. I mean, nobody's thinking,
I think William's got something about people eating each other. Didn't you bring that up at one point of people eating each other?
For the apocalypse, you mean?
No.
Like
There
post?
was some story about you had. Maybe I imagine it.
Oh, yeah. But it would okay. What happened is there was a story that I read online about a local meat locker when I was living in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I read the story online about this guy who owned a meat locker that
Oh, the Frankie
had really
Carbone
good
story.
beef jerky
No,
and
wait a minute. Is a
Jack.
meat locker a hooker? Is a meat locker a hooker?
No, no, no. It's like uh, a place that butchers things and processes them.
A meat locker.
A real
Um,
meat locker.
but
A Frankie Carbone
he
meat
made
locker, like
really
the
good.
Goodfellas.
Yeah. Very frozen all the way through. Um, no, but what had happened is that this guy made really good jerky, and Jack Links was interested in possibly buying the guy out. So they sent some representatives, and they got a sample of his stuff, took it back to the lab, found out that it was human, right? And then the article goes on about him getting in trouble and going to prison, and I'm thinking to myself, I would like to get a list of this guy's customer base
Well,
because
is it like
I'm worried about those people.
Charlie jerky or Wanda jerky? I mean, was it man or female or? Oh God!
Right,
Oh,
right.
It was
oh.
Well,
Downer
what ended
Downer
up
jerky.
what ended up happening is I found out that it was what was this is like when this is pretty fresh when I got out of prison, so I didn't know a whole lot about what's online and what's not. And I did some further research, and the article that I read was from the Onion.
Oh,
And so
Oh,
it was
gee.
just total bullshit. It was
Totally.
like,
Oh,
like
don't you wrecked it all. Hey, the other night I went to this place in the city. It's so great. It's on 44th and 9th. It's called The Dark Side of the Moo. And this guy is so interesting.
Moo.
This guy, Tyrone Green, you got to see the menu, The Dark Side of the Moo. Because I was going to meet a friend there. He said, I'll meet you at the Dark Side of the Moo. And I said, is that a typo? He said, no. And the guy has alligator, yak, bison, snake, venison, ostrich, camel, all these different,
Is that in New York?
and yeah, 44th and 9th. And I had a piece of, I had a camel sandwich, but it was really salty. So it must have been from the hump. but the rest of it is really true. You wouldn't believe the stuff that, like a yak taco. I mean, it was so interesting. I had a double bison burger. Man, it was so good. And it was so silly. It's just a hip little joint. It's a tiny
Buffalo
little
is
place.
really good. I like Buffalo a lot.
What? This is what I learned the other day. Now tell me if you notice. There's no American buffalo.
I know that. I was just going to say that. He brought that up. Buffalo is only an African thing. There's no
Right. In America, it's a bison.
North American bison, right?
Jesus.
Okay.
Well, they're not the same animal. They're not the same. But wait, the
I
Indian?
thought they
No,
were the
you're
same
right.
animal. They're not the
No.
same animal?
No.
No, they're different.
Now, what were the Indians shooting?
And I think it does have something to
North
do with
America-
the hump. I think
North American bison was the staple of Native Americans, and it should be North American bison bill, not Buffalo Bill.
So for hundreds
Right.
of years, we've had that wrong.
Right. That's
Why
correct.
didn't they
Yeah.
just let us be buffalo and let the Africans have bison?
Because it's really hard to say North American bison Buffalo Bill rather than Buffalo Bill, or renaming a town in New York North American Bison City.
Yeah, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. But
Yeah.
that's so funny. I'm listening. Did you ever hear the book Gotham?
Yeah.
It's like 1,300 pages. I'm listening to it. I just got the Buffalo Bill. And his whole thing came out of a dime store comic book that somebody created. And he started doing stage shows and making money. And he called up, Wild Bill Hickok. And Wild Bill Hickok came to New York. But he didn't like the stage. So we went back to killing people. It's
Right.
fascinating stuff, though.
Yeah.
Man.
He was going
No.
blind. That Hickok is an interesting story
He
because he
was.
was one of the best sharpshooters in the world until he started going blind, and then he couldn't hit anything. And I think he killed his best friend by accident, trying to He's trying to break up a brawl, just shooting going wild, and he thought he was shooting one of the bad guys. It turned out to be his best friend, and that turned him into a total raging alcoholic.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Oh, that's our heroes.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you ever hear about this pay for suicide? What the hell do they call it?
Assisted suicide.
Suicide for hire. Suicide for hire.
Oh, somebody will come over your house and give you an injection and put you to sleep.
No, somebody will kill you because you don't have because you want to collect the insurance money and you want to make it look like a legit murder. So you hire somebody to kill you. You hire a hitman to kill yourself. This guy Murdaugh, the lawyer in South Carolina who was convicted of killing his wife and his son yesterday, he also had hired a hitman to kill him for the insurance money, which never got around to happening.
Oh, I remember reading about that. I didn't know that was like an ongoing thing. I thought he just dreamt that up, you know.
No, actually, it's his family cottage industry, I guess, because his father and grandfather both did it. Jesus. I was just reading that this morning. Like, wow. So it's like, but they if they knew that, first of all, if the wife knew that my pop and grandpa hired somebody to kill themselves for insurance money, maybe that's not the kind of marriage you want to get into.
You know, that's the old fool me once. You know.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's crazy, and apparently this was a big story. Oh, Will, you on some kind of major delay or something? Because you were laughing while you were drinking, like a cool ventriloquist act. I was hearing. See? Yeah, you're on like a 5-second.
Oh, you know
delay.
what? My phone's about to die. I should probably.
Yeah,
my phone's about to die. I should probably
all right, go charge
hop off of here. Jackie, it's super good to see you. I hope that you killed this weekend. Have some awesome shows.
Cheers. Yeah. Thanks. Nice to see you, Willie.
Yeah. All right. So now the podcast. What's going on with the podcast? Because I noticed you some advertisements for it. Yeah, I think you're still doing the spouse thing where the comedians come on with their wives. Or
we had Joey Cola on, and then Joey with his wife. We had Carrie Carabas, and then her with her husband, and then we had what's his name? I can never think of his name, and he's so funny. Chris Monty and his wife, and that was great. Then we had a lesbian cop who became a comedian, and she was great. Then we had a young girl comedian who's just starting out, and a young guy comedian just starting out. And then we just did a couple of, I don't want to do Zoom, but we had to. So we did Gabe Abelson, who was Letterman's top monologue writer for 5 years, that both of us have known for 40 years. And then we did Jim Florentine on Monday. And we did Patty Rossborough. Do you know her? She's great.
Yeah.
And we're really kicking ass. Nobody knows how to promote it. And I'm not doing that. You know, we're the artists. I'm not going to run up and down, with a sandwich board saying, eat at shows, But we're doing these great podcasts and nobody's seeing them,
Podcasting is really an audio format thing. And I don't think that I haven't seen any. I don't even know if you have an audio version of it. It's just a YouTube.
Oh, no. It's all. There's only like 1 or 2 places where it's video. No, it's mainly audio.
Really?
But nobody's listening to it.
Wow.
I don't know how to accomplish that.
Oh, I could help with that. I didn't know that. I didn't even know that existed. I could definitely the audio side on this. It kills. And, I learned the marketing stuff for that all on my own. I had to, out of necessity, learn it all on my own.
Well, can you help Michael Zinn?
Yeah, see, me and Mike are not getting along too well at the moment.
Why? What happened? Lovers quarrel?
I don't want to bash him. I'm just going to say
you can just tell me it's none of my business.
No, it's not. It's your business because he's responsible for you being on this program. He's into this whole spiritual awakening, energy healing.
Oh my God!
I could have that conversation once, but not every time I see you. It gets to feel like Jehovah's coming knocking on my door. It's like
you know how I explain that whole. I'm going to bend a spoon with my mind, and I'm going to tell you you're going to talk to your father from the other world and spiritual this. That whole thing is as easily explained as the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy winds up in the trailer with Professor Marvel, and he says, all right, I'm going to read your future, and close your eyes. She closes her eyes. He takes a picture out of her purse and puts it under the crystal ball. And he says, oh, I see a farm. She's, oh, that's the farm where I live. And I see an older woman. She looks very sad. And Dorothy goes, oh, that's Auntie Em. And Professor Marvel says, her name is Emily. And I'm like, that's the whole thing right there. Takes the picture, extrapolates from the stupid picture, and he's a mind. It's almost like you have a conversation with somebody and you're really enjoying them, and all of a sudden you notice they're wearing a cross around the neck. Like, come on, I mean, religion is so predominant. You can't write people off, but God, people get mad at people for lying. You get mad at Fox News for being full of shit, and then meanwhile they go to church, which is
Right.
as big a pile of bullshit as anything. But that's what that makes the world go round. So you got to shut up.
Yeah. So, but I will definitely help with getting the audio podcast. It's not a permanent thing. I just going through some difficult time explaining the Zin that I don't want to hear about.
What's it? He now see. Maybe I haven't spent enough time alone with him. Is he trying to convince you to?
Constantly, he did.
But what's he trying to convince you to do?
He wants to talk about consciousness. He wants to talk about spirituality. He wants to talk about energy. He wants to talk thinking happy thoughts, law of attraction. Put out positive energy, and that will become. It's like, come on, I want to talk about comedy. I want to talk about music. I want to talk about real life, and I'm okay with having that conversation.
Wait. Doing comedy and doing music, by the very definition, is putting out happy thoughts and spiritual thoughts. Even if you're doing a sad song, that's expression. That's positive.
I agree. But we don't have to talk about, and we're all connected energy and whatever, all that stuff. It gets tiring. It to me it feels like religion being forced down my throat. And I don't. When it feels like that, I kind of tune out, and he has a problem with that. It actually makes me as angry as having a Jehovah knock on my door. It's like, come on, man. I asked you not to solicit here. There's a big sign that's no soliciting. Don't come and ask me to read your Bible.
Do you know my Jehovah's Witness joke?
No. I'm about to.
It's Sunday morning. He's knocking on the door, and the guy answers the door. This guy standing says, hello, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, and I have stories to tell you. The guy says, well, come on in. Brings him in, sits him in the living room. He says, let me get you a cup of coffee. He gets a cup of coffee. He gives it Jehovah's Witness. He says, now, what are these stories you have to tell me? And Jehovah's Witness says, how the fuck should I know? I never got this far before. Which is that's the whole story in a nutshell.
I dropped my pants once when they came to the door. I dropped my pants and yelled, Satan! And they didn't run away. I was like, oh, here I guess I'll pull my pants up now. Tony Walker.
I always like the stories, like the guy that takes what's the Bible that's in all the motel rooms? The
Gideons, right?
The Gideon Bible, and the guy meets the girl and says, the Bible sent me to you, because she was like a hooker, and somebody wrote her name inside the Gideon's Bible.
Did you patch things up with Tony Walker?
I didn't. I had no idea there was anything going. I went and did his show the other day with him and Andy, and he said he has no problem. I don't understand. I told him that there's nothing to explain. That there is no case. I have my life and I talk about my life. For anybody to think that I don't have the right to do that. But he was going through some tough stuff, I think, at the time.
He was going through
with Sally and everything, and so, but because I saw him at the governor's Christmas party that they hold in July, and I said, "What the hell is this thing that's going on with me and you guys? Do you really want to talk about this now?" I said, "There's nothing to talk about, Like, yeah, it's like if I'm doing your show and you say, Jackie, these stories are fun, you should tell them all the time. Well, I do that, Matt. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah. No, I was just curious because I saw you were doing this show, but when he was on for the Podathon, which was over a year ago, I asked him like, what's what? Because my impression was that he didn't want you doing other people's podcasts while you could have been doing theirs, the governor's thing. He saw you doing other ones and was upset by that. And he's like, that ain't it. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, but
well,
obviously,
he said it was their idea for me to tell stories, and then I went and did a podcast somewhere else, which
oh
is
yeah, oh
patently
that's right.
absurd.
He
Which is
was mad at
patently
the stand-up memories thing. That's
yeah,
right.
that was our idea for you to have a podcast.
Right.
I mean, please, I mean, I
Ralph,
like Tony. He's a really good guy, but Jesus Christ,
yeah, Ralph is saying to ask Jackie to tell a three-leg chicken joke. Isn't it a three-leg pig? I think chickens only have two legs, right?
No, that's two different jokes you're thinking about.
Yeah. Okay. What's it?
The three-legged pig is, the guy
Yeah,
comes to interview the farmer. The
I
whole
know
thing.
that. Yeah.
That's not the kind of pig you eat all at once.
Yeah. What's the
three-
three-legged chicken?
Well, the guy's driving along in the country, and all of a sudden he looks out, and a chicken goes flying past him, and the chicken has three legs. And the guy can't believe it, so he starts following the chicken, and the chicken zooms into a farm, and it goes down the farm driveway and zooms into the barn. And the guy follows it, and he gets out and he knocks on the door, and the farmer says, "Man, I might be crazy, but I was on my way driving along, and there was a three-legged chicken that went flying by me and ran into your barn. Am I crazy?" And the farmer said, "No, hell, that was a three-legged chicken. We raise three-legged chickens. That's what we do." Well, you see, I like drumsticks, and my wife, she likes drumsticks, and all the neighbors, we all just love drumsticks. So we raise three-legged chickens. And the guy says, "Well, just out of curiosity, what do they taste like?" And the farmer says, I don't know. We've never been able to catch one." Which is just the greatest show. I like drumsticks. The wife, we all like drumsticks.
I remember Norm telling the three-legged pig story, but he would take 20 minutes to tell that story.
Norm Crosby?
Yeah, Norm McDonald.
Oh, Norm McDonald. Yeah, that's
no. I don't think Norm Crosby could get through saying anything for 20 minutes. It's just like,
I've been telling the three-legged pig. Well, this is not, because that's one of those jokes like that you can really, that can last a half hour.
Right. I think towards the end, well, it's weird to say towards the end for a guy who was 63. But towards the end of his life, he was doing that. He was going to old jokes like the three-legged pig joke and the moth joke and things like that, and making 20-minute bits out of old jokes like that.
Which is just so much fun.
Yeah.
Do you know about the world's dirtiest limerick?
No.
There's a British sailor living in New York City, and he's really down and out, and he's having a rough time. And he sees the New York Times, says, "New York Times now sponsoring the world's filthiest limerick contest, and the prize is like $25,000." And he says, "Oh, who knows more filthy limericks than a British sailor? I'm as good as one that." So he puts down the filthiest limerick he knows, and he enters it. And then he gets a notice in the mail: "We're sorry. You didn't win. You came in second place. And we're sorry." So he calls up and says, "What do you mean I came in second? Who is it beat me?" They say, "Well, there's this little woman, Fanny O'Flag, that lives in Dublin, and I'm sorry she beat you." And well, the guy is flabbergasted. He says, I gotta meet this woman. I gotta find her. So he stows away on a ship, and he gets to Ireland, and he steals a bicycle, and he rides the bicycle, and he finds her address. She lives outside of Dublin, and there he gets to her address, and there's this little tiny thatched roof cottage with all flowers and a nice little path riding up, and he walks up and knocks on the door, and she answers the door, and he says, "Oh, are you Fanny O'Flag?" She says, "Oh, I am." He says, well, and you won the filthiest limerick contest for the New York Times, and I came in second. And well, Doug, I would really like to hear the limerick. What beat me, if you don't mind? She says, well, I'll tell you the limerick, but it's a bit foul. So if it's all the same to you, I'll just kind of hum through the nasty parts. He says, well, that's fine. I'd like to hear it. So Fanny O'Flag goes, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la in the river of shit. Which is so just the greatest. Now you can see how you can make that into a week-long story.
Yeah, yeah. All those kind of jokes you could probably, make into long bits.
Every time I tell a joke, I said, Jackie, someday you got to sit down and practice your English accent for the sailor and your Irish accent for Fanny.
I thought the Irish one was pretty good. The English one sounded a little Irish to me.
Yeah. That's not my forte.
Yeah. I went to the Stand Tuesday night. I hadn't been there before. You ever been to that room?
No, the guy that owned it asked me to come there and come on stage anytime, blah, blah, blah. And then he was killed by his wife or by his, I think, oh God, he was on our radio show a couple times, and a guy named Dave, and I think either his housekeeper killed him or there was some kind of crazy intrigue. Now, I might have it mixed up with Stand Up New York, of course, but I'm pretty sure it was the Stand. So you don't know any of I mean, we're talking 10 or 15 years ago.
No, I didn't know any of the history of the room. First time I had been there, but what struck me about it, because I was thinking at the time, I was thinking about your gig at Suffolk Theater, because I was thinking about that room, and there was a big thing going on this week there at that room, and they dressed that room up like it's gigantic. And the stage is pretty high, and the tables are 10 feet back from the stage. And by comparison, the Stand is like very intimate, and you feel like you're on the stage there. And I was just kind of, which is easier to do comedy in? Those like being on a big stage, elevated balcony room with people like far away, and gigantic room, or that intimate setting where people are right up on the stage.
I like it when my knees are right in their chins. That's what I like. When they used to, you ever work at the Studio Theater in Lindenhurst?
Yes, yeah.
That was because the stage was right at right level with the people. And
you worked there?
I worked there 20 times. That guy Dave, we had great fun. Great
fun. That's cool. That's a very super intimate room, and it's just like it's like a storefront.
And when it was filled up, and I think it only held like 130 people, but when it was packed in, I think I have video of doing a whole show there. My friend Ed Huther did videotape me a couple times there.
Yeah, so I really love that. The space in the Stand, it just feels like the perfect room for comedy.
Now, how big is that place?
I would estimate it only holds 120 people tops in there, but
which is great.
Yeah, you have the restaurant upstairs, and then they shuffle you downstairs into it. It feels like you're going into a gas chamber. It feels like you're being led to follow us. We got this special room for you, and that's a little uncomfortable where you're shuffling downstairs into this small room.
But now is that 3rd Avenue between 19th and 20th?
16th Street, right off of I think it's 4th Avenue.
All right, so maybe I got an old.
Yeah. But a really, really cool room to see comedy in. And I was under the impression the MC there was the owner. It's Oscar Alvia or something. Openly gay MC host for the night, and flamboyantly gay, and kind of like picking on the heterosexuals. I mean, the first question was, any gay people here tonight? And then nobody answered yes. So he said, figure my favorite to play for a bunch of heterosexuals. And then he was like, turning the tables. But for some reason I got the impression that this was his club because he was acting like he owns the joint.
Yeah, well, which is the whole, that you win the game if you got the audience convinced that you own the place, then
Yeah.
you literally own the room,
Right.
But it was good. You enjoyed it. Was a place packed and fun and
yeah, Jeannie Jean Garofalo was the opening act. She was the first one on, and she was she was professional but she wasn't killing it.
I'm sure she couldn't have been thrilled to be there because she's been around and she's so funny and so talented.
Yeah, it was like the lineup was great. The second guy, I don't even remember his name, but he was really good. White guy, really tall white guy. I mean, lily white, blonde, whitish blonde hair, young guy, but like 6'5" and as white as could be, wearing a white sweater. It was like
a Nazi. I love Nazi humor.
He was a bit of a Nazi. And then Josh Johnson.
What would you call a German tampon?
I don't know.
A twat sticker.
You could say that on this show.
I could say it anywhere.
No, there are some shows you can't use that on Stand-Up Memories. You can't use that joke there. No,
I know what I can use and what I can't. I don't
Yeah.
tell. I told the joke at some point. Somebody, people say something. It's set like you just talked about German, so I say that joke. Something happened, and I told a classic old joke on Stand-Up Memories, and they gave me the clip of it, and I actually put it on TikTok. And I finally got the 5,000 views. It's such a weird thing. I got a joke on TikTok. Did I tell you this? That 1.1 million views.
Right.
But it's no good for anything. It just means a lot of people saw me tell the joke.
There is a monetization model on TikTok. I just don't know about it. But
well, you got to record it. You got to record it using their app.
Ah.
If you just take something of yours and paste it in, because otherwise people be taking everybody's stuff and just pasting it in.
So, but the trick with getting the 1.1 million is the title has got to induce people into, right? That's what they're looking at.
And it wasn't even a crazy title. It was just a really good filthy joke. You probably heard me tell it a million times. That 3 guys and a girl are stranded on an island. Do you know that?
I don't know that one.
3 guys and a girl are stranded on an island, and after 1 week, the girl's so ashamed of what she's doing, she kills herself. And then after another week, the guys are so ashamed of what they're doing, they bury her. And then after another week, they're so ashamed of what they're doing, they dig her up again.
Oh my God.
That's a great joke. And people
That's a terrible joke. That's
but the way you get all those views is somebody says, you got to hear this one. And he tells somebody and they tell 20 people. And you got to hear this one, this person, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, sharing it around is definitely. And the more people watch it, the more people they show it to and all that stuff. But TikTok might get taken. I don't know how they're going to do this, but they want to ban it in the United States.
I had a whole bunch of jokes. I was doing jokes for a radio station in Albuquerque. This guy owned like 3 or 4 stations. And I said, listen, I've been putting jokes everywhere. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do 1 joke a day. We're going to do Jackie's 420 joke. And I'm going to give you a joke. You play 1 joke a day. So if people know it's coming, they don't have to worry about trying to remember 10 jokes. They're going to hear 1 joke, and that's the one that they can remember. And then I can see you and say, Matt, listen to this joke. And I tell you the joke. Say, wow, that's great. Where'd you hear it? It was Jackie's 420 joke on station WLLZ. And it's great for promotion. Gives people a joke, blah, 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 blah. And the easiest way for me to do it for the guy was to simply record an iPhone video, because trying to do an MP3 and get it transferred, but let me just do an iPhone video. Then you could just lift the MP3 and run it on the radio, but you can also put the little video on the radio station's website. So we loved it, but they had to be clean. But I didn't say the station ID. I didn't say my name. I just giggled, told the joke, and giggled. And I had like 200 of these. And then one day it dawned on me, put those on TikTok. So I was putting a different one every day for a couple of months, and people, they were loving it, because they hear one and they go back and listen to last week's. And then, you know what I mean? Because once somebody goes there, all the other numbers build up and build up and build up. But then I tapered off because I'm going to be promoting my documentary, and I don't want to shoot my load. I figure, once the documentary is ready, then I can tell a joke, and underneath I could say, joke man, see a documentary on such and such. You know what I mean? And then I'm not wasting my time so much.
When is that coming out?
We have distribution, and it's signed, sealed, and delivered, but it still takes a couple months. You probably know better than me. They got to feed it into the system and get it up on all the platforms. And so,
it's so frustrating to see how long it takes to come out with this shit.
No, I said to him, my dream is for this thing to come out before I die. And now it's looking less and less like that's going to happen.
Well, it'll probably do better if not.
Oh yeah. It'll triple in value.
Right. I got to ask you, Rob Bartlett, are you friends with him?
Since I started, 1979.
I've never met him. I always wanted to meet him. People called me a Stern wannabe in radio, and I fucking hated that. I hated being compared to Stern. Imus was my guy. Imus was the person I idolized when I wanted to be in radio. And I know.
Well, he was an even bigger asshole than Howard.
I know he was, and that's what I loved about. But Bartlett was what made that show for me interesting, and I like the idea that Imus found these people like Fat Al Rosenberg and Bartlett.
Al Rosenberg is a dear friend of mine. Love that guy.
Yeah. So, but he was on with Pavaramo on a live stream the other night, and I said I really would just love to, say hello to Rob Bartlett. Oh yeah, we'll get you on with him, and never happened. So I was just curious if you knew him. Also, I saw Richie Miniberi.
Now, would you like to? Bartlett, did you have his email address and all
No,
that?
I got none of that stuff. And Pavaramo, I don't know if you know John Pavaramo. He's a pretty well-to-do comedian. He's doing okay. But he's I've hooked him up with lots of cool comedians. Paul Prevent. I can go down but trying to get any help from him back towards some of these people.
Yeah, show business is a one-way street, and you know that.
Yeah.
Listen, so would you want to have Bartlett on this show?
Bartlett, yeah, definitely.
I'm sure he'd love to do it. All right, I'll text him. But
you'd be my hero.
Major health problems for a long time. But he comes and goes with his problems. He might be doing fine now. I hope he's doing fine.
Right.
I mean, we started together. Me, him, Bob Nelson, Richie Minavini, Dave Hawthorne, Bob Woods, Jim Myers. We were called the Magnificent Seven in 1979, and it was funny because there were no blacks and no Jews. It was all white guys,
I mean, we
weren't funny, but we were the Magnificent Seven. And you said you saw Minavini lately?
He's performing a stand-up. I saw they on Long Island. I thought he was in Florida for some reason. But then I was like, wow, he's still working. I thought he retired
No, he's still out there. Just, he's me and him started Long Island comedy together.
I know.
You know that whole thing.
Yeah.
But you got to meet him. I'm sure he'd love to do this show.
Wow. Yeah. And I just wondered if you even, because you and Bartlett have, kind of that rivalry there that got in the Stern versus Imus, whatever that was.
But there was really never any head-to-head. Like Imus was gone already. Like, I never, it's so funny because all the years I've been in show business and comedy and radio, I never, not even once, was ever in the same room at the same time as Don Imus.
Wow.
Never met him, never saw him. I mean, he fully knew who I was,
Yeah.
The funny little fat guy,
Yeah.
But he was, by all accounts, he was just a piece of shit,
Really? That surprises me. Not that it's kind. You never know people. You think
Oh,
you
he
know.
was so shitty to Al Rosenberg, and I think he was. I'm not sure he was even good to Bartlett. Like who knows?
That's what I would love to hear Bartlett talk about.
And he probably wouldn't. But once again, I don't know that. I
Yeah.
just, I know he fired Al Rosenberg, and then Al started doing the Stern Show with us, and then, Imus quickly took him back.
Right,
What
yeah.
do you mean? He's good? Oh, give me back.
Yeah. Or just I don't want him helping the enemy.
Yeah, because I used to be on the Stern Show one day a week back at NBC, and
Wow.
Imus fired Al, so all of a sudden Al was doing Howard, and all of a sudden Al was gone because he was back with Imus. So,
Yeah.
it was crazy.
The Imus is a kind of complicated guy because I heard that he was a total asshole and all that stuff. And listen, I never idolized Don Imus, but I idolized that's what
you respected what he did. He was real
Yeah.
good, and he had very loyal listeners that listened forever. Mel Karmazin, when Howard was making him millions and millions of dollars, and I'd say, "Hey, how you doing, Mel? Did you enjoy the show?" He said, "Oh, fuck the show. I listened to Imus," which I thought was great.
Yeah. So radio, that stuff's gone, right? I mean, Stern's not a comedy show anymore. He's a serious interviewer.
I have never listened. You wouldn't believe how many people complained to me about his show.
I don't know. I'm not complaining about, but
no, I don't mean you, but I mean
Yeah,
people say, "Well, what's Howard up to?" Oh, what is it? When did Howard become a liberal idiot? And I write back and say, "I'm a liberal idiot. The only thing I agree with him on is politics. Everything he's saying is true. It's the end of the world. I'm building a fallout shelter."
Well, my wife could hook you up. She's got plans. She's got the plans all worked out for that.
I got three cans of vegetarian Campbell soup beans.
You couldn't build a shelter where you are. You'd hit water.
Well, if I had a shelter, I'd have an indoor pool.
Yeah. See, I'm 450 feet above the water, so I think we'll be fine if we dig.
Yeah, you're also a great target for a bomb.
Yeah. Right. Well, and yeah, I'm sure that even though the nuclear power plant isn't operational in my backyard, it would be a nice target to blow up.
You know what's great? What's great is we're all worrying: is North Korea going to get us? Is China going to get us? Is Russia going to get us? Is the climate going to get us? Is an earthquake going to get us? And everybody, is a pandemic going to get us? And then while we're all standing there worrying, we're going to get hit by an asteroid and we're going to be floating around with the dinosaurs. And it was not worth worrying about in the first place. So
that's right. It's not worth worrying about. You get through the day.
It's like the magic 8 ball,
I've been producing and sometimes hosting a food show for EPM Studios, and I'm not a foodie guy, but because the whole
now wait a minute, wait. When you say do you mean you're standing there while somebody's cooking something?
I introduce these stuff. I do watch them cook. We get some B-roll of them cooking stuff, but I sit at a restaurant and review the food now. But I'm not a food guy. I eat like a 12-year-old. I don't really know food. I don't know the right fork for salads or any other stuff. And so people are presenting me with, dishes, and I like, I go for mac and cheese if I could, a greasy burger after the gig. This is the kind of guy I am: burger and fries after a gig kind of guy. I don't know fancy food.
When I was at this place, the Dark Side of the Moo, that's what the old guy from the Stern Show, and this guy Ron Barber, that's why they were there. They do a show where they go to different places in Manhattan, and the people feed them, and they eat like kings, and they do these little terrific video promos. That sounds like you're the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah, that's what I think you saw. I posted on Twitter, me with 3 drinks, because that's the other part of it. You eat, they're feeding you all stuff, and then you have to try the stuff from the bar, their specialty cocktail stuff. And I'm not a drinker. And so it's like,
that's great. But they want to take care of you. No, you should do, my friend Larry was doing a cooking show, and he came here. I let him do it because I got a nice big kitchen. He did a couple of shows here. And he did a show with me, and I cooked beef stroganoff. And we're laughing and having a great time. And I browned the meat and made this and did the whole thing. And then we're sitting at the table and we're laughing and we're eating. And we're halfway through eating. And I realized that I forgot to put the sour cream onto the beef. With that, that's what makes it beef stroganoff, is when you add the sour cream. We're eating beef stew. But that was so funny because you couldn't make that up, But it's fun to cook on. I made a little. I got to send it to you. I made a little video, like a bunch of different iPhone videos, because my girlfriend one day said, "I'm going to make English muffins." I said, "You can't make English muffins at home." She said, "Oh, I'm going to try it," and she made these incredible English muffins, and it's so easy. And where do I send it to you? You'll be flabbergasted. You might even want to post it because there's
she's a baker, right? Because when we were there, she was giving us cookies that were out of this world. They're really good.
Chocolate chip cookies. Oh, they're frightening. Yeah. I'm sworn off them. If I get stoned, I would eat all of them. And she'd get mad at me.
Oh, speaking of stoned, I've been doing the edibles. Do you do the edibles at all?
No, and I'm afraid. Ever since college, when I ate too many brownies and I never thought I was going to come home again.
I had that same thing because I went to a concert when I was in college, and because the weed down there sucked, so we bought a pound of weed, Mexican weed, for $60, and instead of smoking it, we baked it into a cake, and it paralyzed me. I would remember laying up in the rafters of the arena, just like my body's not working. I hated that experience.
Right, the weakest pot in the world, when you bake it or cook it, it goes right into your system. What happened to me is, I ate a brownie and I didn't get high. So I had another brownie, I didn't get high. So I had 4 or 5 brownies. And then like an hour later, like, holy Christ, I'm on Pluto. and of course, like a month or two later, you forget and do the same thing again, like an idiot. Now, did you take a controlled thing like 1 milligram or 10 milligrams?
These kind of THC Delta 9 stuff, samples of the 15 milligrams each. But I've been for a guest on this program sent me stuff. I told him edibles didn't work for me. I just wasn't into them. He said, "Oh, you're going to get a care package from me." And he sent me a bunch of little ones, and I was like, okay. And he sent me a chocolate bar with them. And they were 5 or 10 milligram gummies. I was eating them, and I was like, "These are kind of nice." And then I ran out of them, and the chocolate bar was there, and it said 175 milligrams. I was like, "Oh no, 225 milligrams." I was like, "That can't be right. These are 10 milligrams, 5 milligrams."
But it's like a chocolate bar, but it's divided up into little squares, right?
Right. You're supposed to eat one of the squares, but I ate the whole fucking thing.
Oh, Jesus Christ, you idiot.
And then I was fucked up for about a week.
Hey, I've been fooling around with these guys that are making pot butter. They have a whole, and it's a whole food thing that they're doing. You should interview them. You'd enjoy these. They're 2 young guys. They have all the funding they need, and it's New York pot butter is the name of the thing. They're right in Plainview. Really good guys,
Yeah. Zin says he snuck in here, but he's actually talking to William at the beginning of the show. He's on like a time delay thing.
Well, that's because he's in the netherworld.
Yes.
He's talking to Buffalo Bill and Cochise.
Yeah, he says he doesn't know if he's allowed in. Of course, he's allowed in here. We welcome everybody. See, this is the problem with Zin. He's not hearing me say, I love Mike Zin. He's a good guy. I just don't want to talk about energy healing or energy connectivity or consciousness or love and flowers.
It's like if you have a friend that sells encyclopedias. When you're sitting there having a cup of coffee, you don't want the guy to say, "Hey, by the way, do you want a copy of Q through L?" Like, no, I don't.
What is Ralph saying? I'm watching on my 65-inch TV and it looks phenomenal. Well, that's nice. Is Jackie looks phenomenal, or do I look phenomenal?
Should I take down my pants? I wonder how big my cock would look, Ralph.
On the 65-inch screen, it would look at least an inch long.
That's funny. That's very funny. I really expected you to be funny, and there it was. You were funny. Ralph, when are you coming back to Jokeland?
That's why what made me think of the weed stuff, because Ralph is, as you know, a grower. He threw out all his plants. He grew all those plants last year, and ended up throwing. I would have said, because I don't know if they're female or male or whatever, because it grew wild after a year, and he just threw out like a massive amount of weed, and I was like, you could try it on me. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a chance. I don't mind picking out a few seeds here.
The other night, I'm at the dark side of the Moo, where they have all the different crazy stuff. And one of the people with Grillo and Ron, this fantastic guy, and Ralph, you would love this guy. He's a vet, and he got injured in not Vietnam, in Iraq, but he came back, and he's a lot better now, and he's got a battle buddy. Now, I didn't know about this, but I guess your battle buddy is the two of you. You fight together, you shoot together, fight together, whatever it is. But now they're starting a farm upstate called Battle Buds. This guy already does pot in his huge basement, and he's got the whole thing down with the nutrients and the seeds. And like, he gave me a little sample of his strawberry shortcake, and it smells like strawberry shortcake, the frightening shit. But they're making Battle Buds upstate, and they want to have it farmed by vets. They want to give the vets, because the suicide rate is so crazy and everything. And this guy is, he's his heart is in such a right place, but he's so good at this pot thing that I want him to call up and talk to you too. You don't mind me trying to turn you on to some of these people, right? They're interesting.
Yeah, definitely. There was, when we came to Jokeland, there was a guy who was bringing your grown to vets down in Long Beach.
Yeah, that's Sid Mandelbaum. He's great. You should have him on the show.
I definitely would love to.
He can be a little long-winded because he's so interesting and he's got so much going on. But I mean, he gives out free food he has a farmer's market 3 times a week, but it's in his driveway.
Wow.
But he gets free food from Trader Joe's and BJ's and all these places, and the vets come to his driveway, and he gives these old vets, they're like 70, 75, 80 years old, and they come and they sit around and smoke a joint, or I give them pot to give them, and they go home with food, and they get to sit around and laugh, because by the time you're 80 years old, your friends are all dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I went to BJ's. It wasn't what I thought. Ralph turned me on to, what is it? It's like a flea market of pot that they have Tuesdays and Sundays in, like, I want to say like MacArthur Airport area, where they rent out a warehouse and there are people with tables, of different kind of product, and you go around.
Oh, really? Like a convention, like a farmer's market,
like a flea market, for weed guys.
Oh, I'd love to hear about that. I'd like to go to that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, let's go. I think they do them on Tuesdays and Sundays, but a Sunday one might not be a bad like go from table to table sampling what they got. But I was in New York City and like going through different dispensaries. I picked up this, which is Moon Rock's pre-roll. Ever tried? I'm like,
I went into, I had never been before, and I was with Ron, and we went into 3 of those places, and those places are staggering. This guy had a big plastic case, like a plastic box, and he took off the top and let me smell it. It was like taking a big hit of ammonia. It almost knocked me right off my feet. It smelled great, but holy, that's so strong. Yeah. It's crazy,
Right. Like the first time I went for the vape stuff, I didn't know how to work it. Somebody gave me a cartridge, and I went to the local store and I said, I need a pen for this. And he goes, you could try it here. So I try it, and I'm sucking on it, and the guy's like, I'm like, I'm not getting anything. And he's like, slow down. And then
you can't find your way out of the goddamn store.
Next thing I remember, he was standing over me going like this, like, cause I was passed out.
Because there's no sensation. Nothing happens except you get high.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of smoke comes out,
Right. And you don't feel like you're getting anything, and then all of a sudden, boom.
When that first happened, I was in Willie Nelson's bus with him. He said, "It's ridiculous." He said, "I could get stoned on a plane. It's ridiculous."
Yeah. When I got stoned on stage for the first time, when I figured that out, and I thought it was like a joke, so I just took it up and I was smoking, and then we started, and I like forgot how to fucking play, man. I was like, I don't remember how any of these songs go. I was so fucked up.
You know, one time, I never did that shit. I never did anything stoned, but my band came over and we were having rehearsal. And somebody came over, one of those guys came over where I got the greatest pot, man. You got to try my pot. And, these idiots in like 1970, and the guy, we smoke a joint and we're out of our heads. And then we go to, and the first song we played to rehearse was a song called Journey to the Center of Your Mind. Do you know that song by the
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. And I got about 4 dun, 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 and I was like, I'm done. You know what? I got to go back and listen to that song. That was one of the craziest songs. You know who that was? Ted Nugent.
Really, I didn't know that.
And the cover of the Amboy Dukes album is 100 different pot pipes. Turns out he never had to hit a pot or a sip of booze in his life.
I'm not sure what's true with him or what's not true with him.
Yeah, well, he's so full. He's a scary guy. He's a right-wing nut, man.
He claimed he shit his pants to get out of going to Vietnam, and then he said he didn't. He made that whole story up. So once a guy tells you that, I don't believe anything you say anymore. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Once you catch somebody in a major bullshit, you got to not just stop trusting him. You got to start going back and say, at what point did he start lying?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you brought up, I brought up forgetting to play the music, forgetting how to play on stage. Erica Rhodes, you know Erica.
I love her.
The other day she was saying about having a panic attack, and she gets panic attacks, but got one on stage, and I can't imagine that. Like, did that ever happen to you? Like, I'm forgetting my jokes and.
No, but there was a famous story. The first Star Search. There's a guy who's still so funny, and he was one of the guys with Jerry Seinfeld, Paul Reiser, Dennis Wolfberg, Larry Miller, Glenn Hirsch, and my friend Peter Bales. They were the gang at the comic strip in 1979. This guy Joe Bolster, and he went on Star Search, and he had a panic attack, and it was like, I think Star Search you get to do 1.5 minutes,
right.
And it was like over a minute of blank, just standing there. He just freaked.
On national television with Ed McMahon.
A really talented comic, really, and he should have won the whole thing. And he just, sometimes, because you get a lock, you go to remember something. But I know sometimes I'll be like, I won't remember, and I'll cover it, and I'll feel like, wow, 5 minutes went by, and meanwhile 2 seconds went by. Right. You know what I mean? Because like the ball doesn't pop up in the jar, so you say hello until the ball pops up in the jar.
How many minutes are you doing the show tomorrow night? You're gonna do 90 minutes?
No, yeah, I'll do. I usually do 60, give or take. Depending how I'm feeling. Sometimes when they laugh their asses off after 50 minutes, 55. If they've been laughing at every joke for an hour, they're done. You can only, they laugh so hard. You don't want to leave them angry at you.
I get it. Believe me, I've walked out of comedy shows where my face was hurting and my sides were hurting. It was too much. I overdosed on comedy, but it's just asking because I know Bales is with you now. I thought you were doing the show alone. So how long is Bales doing? Like a half?
He'll do 20 or 30, whatever,
Wow.
If we got a good sized house, I think we sold like 300 tickets, so there'll be plenty of energy. So, let him go up and enjoy himself,
Well, there'll be actually about 10 less people there because I was going to be taking call and all these people with me, and now I'm not going. I'm sorry.
You are really a piece of shit.
I know, but I'm going to come to because you're going to be at the brokerage or someplace. One of the governor's things.
May 6th. That's not for a while. May 6th. I'm hoping my documentary's out by then. Yeah, we got to have. A coffee with the dog screening somewhere.
Yeah, that would be very cool, man. I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to the documentary for a year and a half now. I think
a year and a half. It's been 5 years. God.
Yeah. So I'm sorry about tomorrow night, but I am a piece of shit. I literally in the moment said
No,
yes.
you got it. You got to take your gigs. Don't be silly. Don't be
Uh,
silly. Of course,
y-
you take a gig.
yeah, well, it's not one of the gigs that I'm gonna. I definitely will be thinking about what's going on at the Suffolk Theater while I'm playing my gig tomorrow night.
Well,
Definitely.
hey, what happened to my girlfriend? Where is she?
She's still with the band. She performs with me all the time. I think she. I've been thinking about this because the show was the best it was when she was guest hosting. Uh,
Kiara?
yeah,
Is that right?
yes.
Kiara?
But she pissed that I didn't stick up for her Christian beliefs with a lot of the comics. But you know what? I try to explain to her just because they joke about religion or stuff, they're not like thinking you're stupid. She took it as people were picking on her for being stupid and believing in religion.
Nobody's picking on her. If she wants to believe in total horseshit, that's her prerogative.
Exactly. And you know what? You can't worry about what comedians are saying to be funny and think like, oh, well, it reflects on it. They're being funny. They're not trying to hurt you. But I guess
Do you know about Jesus and Moses sitting poolside?
I think I heard it, but go ahead.
They were retired, and Moses says, Jesus, I wonder if we still got it. I wonder if we still got it. He says, let me see. And he stands up at the end of the pool and he goes like that. And the pool splits and opens up in a big gap. And he walks through the gap in the pool and said, oh man, I still got it. Jesus, why don't you see if you still got it? And he says, I'll see if I still got it. And Jesus goes to walk on the pool, to walk across the water on the pool. And he sinks. And he said, I guess I haven't still got it. And Moses said, well, you forgot about those holes in your fucking feet.
See, now that would hurt. That would hurt. That's the kind of thing. Immediately after the show, I'd get a phone call. I felt like you didn't stick up for me. Like, what am I supposed to say? Don't make fun of Jesus on my show.
She is attractive.
Yeah.
And she's married?
No.
I thought she was married.
She lives with the guy. She was married, got divorced. This is what I just recently found out because, I knew that she was married before. I know her ex-husband, and we were doing a gig together when she ended up being with the guy that she's with now, who's a good guy. But it turns out she's got money because the last gig I was on, she was telling me about how her father wanted to borrow $80,000 and she was reluctant to give it. I was like, wait, you got $80,000 to lend somebody? Why wouldn't I know about this when you were on the show? I would have.
Hold on. Oh, man. I believe in Jesus.
I know, exactly. I would have definitely stuck up. I would have fought every comedian over Jesus if I would have known you had $80,000 in the bag.
Why don't you tell her to come on next time I'm coming on and we'll have a prayer circle?
I think you know what? She went back to work. She went back to a regular job, an office job, which she was not doing on faith grounds because she didn't want to get the vax and all this kind of stuff. So she protested for 2 years, not going back, and then she finally caved when she left this show and went and got the vax. And then it turns out she found out the vax didn't work anyway. She took off 2 years for nothing. I don't know.
The world is crazy. Thank God the world is crazy.
Joe Walters has a question for Jackie. He's probably answered a million times, and that's all. No question. He just said, I want you to know that he has a question for you that you
tell
probably
him.
answered.
Tell him the answer is 8 inches.
Really? On a 65-inch screen or a little screen like this?
It's 8 inches, which is a little too wide for most women.
Okay. I don't know what the question is, but Joe, if you
Wait,
want to add...
Joe, now he's got us peaked. You got us peaked. What's your question, you moron?
Right. He's a comedian out of Pensacola, Florida. And Joe, you got a few seconds to answer because I really have to get going here soon. So to ask a question. So ask a question. I'll stall and think of...
Where is Pensacola, Florida?
Pensacola, not Pepsi.
Where is that?
It's in the panhandle. It's over by Alabama. different time zone. I did not know this, that Florida has 2 time zones. It's the main chunk of it is Eastern, but there's that section that's Central Time. I did not know
Yeah,
that.
I
So,
think the time changes, and I think the IQ changes.
right.
I'm
You,
pretty sure.
you know what would be really cool? I brought this up to one of the guys from time zone stuff, is to have a house where you can actually walk from one time zone to the other. Like the living room is in this time zone, and
There must be places like that.
there are definitely like Arizona or something.
What if you lived on the international date line? It's Friday now, and it's Saturday when you walk to the bathroom.
That's pretty cool stuff too. So that was it, huh, Joe? You just have a question for Jackie? Probably answered it a million times. And here it is. The scene in Private Parts where Howard was in the tub with the wet underwear was based on a story about Jackie. Is that true?
That is absolutely true. You got to buy a copy of The Joke Man, Bow to Stern, which is my
Wait,
autobiography.
I read that book. I don't remember the.
Well, it's the Jessica Hahn thing. If it was 2 chapters, you did not read the book.
I did. I read the entire book in one night. That's probably why I don't remember.
What happened was that was a combination of 2 things that happened. Because we had just become number 1 in Philadelphia, and so we're having Howard was having a funeral for John DeBella, who we beat, and we're at Rittenhouse Square we're going to have a big funeral, like 10,000 people there, and Joey Buttafuoco was the executioner, and Scott the engineer was the dead body, and it was that whole thing. And the night before, we're at the Omni Hotel, and it's me, Gary, Fred, John, Billy West, and Howard. And Jessica Hahn is in the suite next door to Howard's suite. And Howard calls up and says, Jessica, come on over and take a bath. So she's an idiot. She comes over, and he had a huge suite, and it was a couple of rooms away is a bathtub. And she's in the bathtub, and she's yelling, Howard, come get in the bathtub with me. And he's like, I can't do that. My wife will kill me. He says, come on, somebody's got to come with me. And I'm drunk, and I'm like, what do I care? Because I figure I'm going to keep my pants on, and I can't get in trouble. So we go walking down where Jessica is, and somebody, while they're putting the water in the tub, we threw Stuttering John in the water. And when we pulled him out of the water was black. He was so filthy. So we had to drain the tub and refill it.
Wow.
And so she gets in the tub naked, and Howard gets in the tub just in his underwear. But I had my underwear and my blue jeans. And I climb in. So the 3 of us in the hot tub for probably 30 seconds. Maybe. I mean, it's a hot tub, and he's 6'6", and she's there with her big old titties, and and we're crammed in there. The next morning on the radio, he made it sound like it was a full-scale orgy, like it was unbelievable, blah, blah, blah. And my wife was going to, because she wasn't listening. So she heard about it from her friends.
Right.
So she got the version, oh, Jackie was in an orgy with Jessica Hahn. You should have heard Howard talking about blah, blah, blah. But then when it came time to make the movie, it's Fred and Howard and the porn star, whoever it was in the bathtub. And what had happened was it was so crazy because Nancy was so mad at me. It was unbelievable. And what they did was, I don't know at what point, but they took Jessica Hahn's wet pink negligee that she had worn in the bathtub. The negligee was wet, and they put it in my suitcase. And when I got home, my wife was going to kill me, and she attacked me, and she ran away and puked out and freaked out, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I opened my suitcase, and there's that wet negligee. If I had to open up my suitcase when she was there and she had to saw that wet negligee, I'd be dead. I would literally be. And I just ran out and threw it over the fence because I didn't know how soon she was coming back. So then that whole Howard's wife finding the underwear in the glove compartment of the car was based on I'm sure it was Stuttering John's work, putting the underwear in my thing, which was a great practical joke,
Yeah, the Buttafuoco reference triggered my memory on that stuff. That, classic stuff there. Now, by the time the movie came out, you were off the show, right? That was 97 or something?
No, the movie is 98. Yeah, no, the movie was spectacular. Oh, yeah, the New York premiere, they closed off like 33rd and 34th Street around, it was the most spectacular premiere. We walked the red carpet around the whole block, and Howard showed up in the Pope Mobile. And
I went to the after party for the premiere in L.A. Slash and Bruce Willis, a whole bunch of people were there at Billboard on Sunset.
That I was not at that. The guy from whatever the mattress company gave me 2 beds and mattresses for appearing at that thing. And my wife got she had endometriosis and she had a violent attack and she was in the hospital. So I was in the hospital with my wife while Gary and John and whoever hosted the premiere it was at Grauman's Chinese.
Right.
And so I don't even know if I got to go to the party afterwards. I might have finally made it, but I would have remembered Bruce Willis and that, it was, I just couldn't believe I felt so bad for my wife, but I'm like, she's in trouble. And that's the kind of thing you could actually die from that,
right.
And it was so scary. But meanwhile, selfish me, I'm like, I was going to get the host of film at Grauman's Chinese. Who gets to we were the #1 film in the country, and I didn't get to go. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I almost got to be part of a thing at Grauman's Chinese a couple of months ago. I was invited to. I just didn't want to get on a flight and go out to L.A.
How could you turn that down?
Well, because it was like tomorrow night or something. It's like, wait a minute, I got to go. You're inviting me now. I got to go get tickets and fly to L.A. I don't want to get on a plane. I'm supposed to go out to L.A. in August, and I'm dreading it. I'm already having anxiety attacks about getting on a plane.
Oh, stop.
It's not the. I'm not a germaphobe or any of that stuff. It's the hassle of airports and the whole. And
it does get worse and worse. Have you been to the new LaGuardia?
No.
My cousin got me a ticket on Southwest to go see our other cousin in Montana. So he says, if you don't mind flying Southwest, I'll get you a ticket. And my buddy dropped me off at LaGuardia. And by the time I got to the gate, I couldn't fucking believe it. So when I flew home, when I got off the plane, I clicked on my, the little app for running.
Right.
That you could tell how far you ran. I hit the clicker. From where you get off the plane, from the gate to where I got in the car where my buddy picked me up, 1.6 miles.
Holy crap.
I swear on my mother, 1.6 miles.
Well,
I mean, you walk and then the escalator, and then the people mover, and then another hallway, and like, holy crap. I mean, what do you do if that's a long walk. You got to factor in a lot of time. That's a long.
And a guy with a bad knee besides.
It was killing me. Yeah. And this was, and this was months ago, like I had probably only recently got rid of my walker,
Right. They should have at least hook you up with one of them little scooters that the people use in the supermarket.
Yeah. like when they had the race in Seinfeld. Remember they're chasing each other?
Yeah. But for a guy like you who was an athlete, that's got to be a little humbling.
Yeah. What do you do? What can you do? Nothing you can do. Yeah, but it's but I'm getting around good. Feels good now.
Well, good for you. Listen, I got to go, but I really hope the show goes well tomorrow night. I hope you have a packed house. I hope Peter Bales gets laid by an old television actress.
It could happen. Listen, anybody that's interested in anything, email me, jokeland@aol.com. That includes you, Joe. JOKELAND@AOL.com. Joe, if you email me, I'll send you those 2 chapters so you can read about the. That was so unfair that I almost got divorced over that, and then I don't even get to be in the scene in the movie.
I know. Well, that's why I was thinking you must have been off the show by that time because why were you dissed in that way? I don't know.
Because I wasn't part of the show yet. The way they had the movie written, and then they didn't use it because I was not going to be in the movie. I found this out after. Fred might not have been, because there was no way that they were going to show me passing Howard notes. And so if I'm there, like, well, how are they going to show me? So what they did, the way they crafted it, was the movie ends with him becoming #1 in New York City.
Right.
And I just came in at the end, like, here's our newest member, Jackie, and then the film ends. So you never got to see me pass a note. You never got, it was, I was thrilled to be in the movie, but it would have been nice to, but there's no way they were going to ever show what I did, but to this day, people have no idea what I did.
Well,
I heard a rumor. Jackie's telling people who used to write some of the stuff Howard says. He's so full of shit. Yeah, he is a liar. Jackie's not funny. No, he was never funny. That's the whole bit with the show is Jackie's not funny at all. I'm like, it gets 20 years later, Matt, it's still going on.
People think your purpose was to giggle or laugh at inappropriate times because Fred would have a sample of it.
And that was later on, be the butt of the jokes and be a moron. And, meanwhile, I helped them go to Pluto. That's why I wound up off of there. Like, share the fucking money,
Yeah. Jokeland.com, SuffolkTheater.com. You can go get tickets for tomorrow night, folks. It's not sold out yet, but it will be by tomorrow night. So hurry up and get your tickets. That's all.
Thank you, Matt. Let's do this again.
All right. I'll see you. Thanks for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day and get some more nice shirts like that. You look very handsome.
My girlfriend got me this. I still don't know what. I think they're little Christmas trees or something. It's supposed to be a Christmas shirt.
Look like three-legged chickens to me.
It's a great show. Give Chiara my love and tell Carl I still look forward to meeting him one day.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna definitely bring Chiara May 6th when you're at the. I think it's a brokerage. Oh, one of those government things. Yeah. I'll definitely
get Ralph and come out to Jokeland and have a few laughs. Jesus Christ.
We'll do that, and I'll bring you some samples from my dispensary in New York City treats.
Groovy. All right, go away. I'll hang up.
Have a good day. Bye for now.
Bye.
Jackie the Joke Man, folks. Suffolk Theater tomorrow night, 8 p.m., not 7 p.m. as the original advertisements were saying. 8 p.m. I think it was corrected. The advertisements were corrected. Anyway, that's the show for today. I know it's a little bit long. I got to get rolling. I have a tasting to New York that will be premiering tonight from, I think, 5 Oceans in Long Beach. I think we cleared that up earlier. Anyway, that's the show for you for today. Have a great rest of your day, and don't forget to turn on your radio. Bye for now.
I to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.
But oops, I just showed the